Alright guys, I'm finally back home after a few days with the family, and I have to admit that I got the chance to relax and disconnect basically because I left a few videos prepared, so now I'm 100% ready to keep making videos. And I have decided to do a garage reveal since I saw many people doing the same back when Asphalt Lanes Unite was globally released last July, and since I was quite busy, I didn't get the chance to make a proper video of my garage. So today I will be showing you all my whole progress after a bit over 5 years playing Asphalt 9 Legends and now Asphalt Lanes Unite. So let's dive into it. I will have a quick overview over all the cars I currently own, and then I will go one by one so you can check the decals and colors I mostly use on each car. As a warning, I have to admit that I really like the black matte effect, so you will see some cars with that paint job, while it's true that depending on the car I will be using other colors since the shapes and that stuff are different. In case you are wondering, I have 254 cars, and at this exact moment 208 of them are completely maxed out, 250 of them are at their max stars, and once this Drive Syndicate ends, I will gold the Absolute, so I will likely get close to 210 gold max cars, which is absolutely insane considering first of all how expensive cars are in this game, and second of all that Gameloft makes sure to gatekeep certain cars' epic import parts for whatever reason. So for example, cars like the Koenigsegg CC850 or the Bugatti Bolide are quite hard to gold max, given the fact that their epics only appear through Drive Syndicates, and everyone knows how expensive Drive Syndicates are. But during these days where I have been away from the computer and the game as well, I got the chance to think, and it's certainly not healthy to waste that much money on a game, because if you think about it, at a certain point you are just spending money in order to max cars that will be required in the future in order to max other cars and so on. So regardless if the car you are going for is useful or not, you are basically mindlessly spending for the sake of keep going on the loop. And I feel like I really need to work on this because as you can see on this video, I have basically everything anyone could need in order to make many videos in the future, and still I keep going for every single car that appears on this game. On my previous videos about the Drive Syndicate, I already mentioned that I'm completely determined to not to spend on a Drive Syndicate ever again, and even though I'm sure your trust about such an statement is at an all-time low, I can assure you all guys, I will try my best to not to do it ever again. First of all, because it's not a healthy approach to a game, even if I can afford it, and second of all, it's because even if I don't max cars with the expectations to get any kind of money back, since as you guys already know, every penny I earn with this channel gets automatically reinvested into the game and the channel, life has many paths, and maybe not now or in the near future, but in the long run, I could end up regretting this kind of spending. And then we have the skill, because in order to get the best performance out of these cars like the Absolute for example, aside from money to obtain them, you need to have a skill ceiling that I have the feeling that it's getting higher and higher with new cars like the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute, that instead of being easier to drive, only get more complicated with weird mechanics like the straight drifting acceleration that the Absolute has. That makes me feel like it's pointless to spend on these cars if at the end my all-time most used multiplayer cars is the Nevera, which was introduced into the game years ago and I still use it up to this day. Thinking about the Nevera, the Koenigsegg Hemera comes to my mind as well, because the Hemera wasn't meant to be a king, and indeed it never was close to do any kind of world record on any track, but still it ended up being a really solid and fun car to use on multiplayer, capable of beating cars that appear after it like the Bugatti Bolide. Whatever. What I'm trying to say is that the skill side of this game has never been something I have been interested into. I have always been more into collecting cars, doing stuff in multiplayer, obtaining rewards on special events, and that kind of things that, as you can understand, obviously doesn't make you more skilled. Hence why my skills have been more or less the same through the years. But it's fine though, I have had fun that way, but of course it's precisely the skills what makes me less suitable to have fun with cars like the Absolute, let's say, which requires a way higher skill ceiling. Oddly enough, this situation wasn't the exact same on Asphalt 8, since the skill ceiling there was lower than the one we have on Asphalt Lanes Unite, and thus you could get used to drive the fastest cars faster. And sure, I wasn't a top 50 player there, but from time to time, if there was a track I liked, I could get into the top 100, for example. Now, in Asphalt Legends Unite is no longer possible for me due to the reasons I have explained, but on the other side, Asphalt Legends Unite has some things Asphalt 8 didn't have at all. So it's just a matter of pros and cons when you pick a game, basically. Okay, so back on my garage, I have to say that one of the things I'm the most proud about this game is the massive progress I have managed to obtain through all these years playing. As many of you might know, I decided to not to go for the Bugatti Bolide back at its first Drive Syndicate because it was insanely expensive and I spent a lot on the Koenigsegg Hemera Drive Syndicate just to leave it not close to gold, so at that time I chose to not to go for it, thinking that the Bolide would come back at some point, which, well, it did, and now it's on my garage and golden, which honestly is far more than I could have expected to have a year ago. I also won the Koenigsegg CC850 key from a giveaway, and then I got the chance to 5-star it from bundles, so now I'm less than 40 blueprints away from 6 stars, so I can say that my top S-Class garage has never been this solid before, even though I'm really bad with top speed oriented cars like these ones, but hey, I mean, it's better to have them all than not having them at all. Also, you guys might have realized that already, but yeah, my most solid class is easily the A-Class, and that is where I have the longest section of completely golden cars, some of which I haven't got the chance to test yet, like the Frangivento Asfane or the Pagani Utopia, which, by the way, since it was released, I haven't touched at all. Many of these cars are certainly fillers, but it's guaranteed that most of them will be required for upcoming events, so yeah, less money I will have to spend by then. I have reached almost 740,000 tokens as well, and I'm considering to stop by 800,000 tokens and then start the series where I will spend the bare minimum in real money, like, the Legends Pass, and that's it, in order to see how far I can go with such an insane amount of tokens on my back. I mean, aside from the Drive Syndicate cars, I should be able to max every single car that arrives, so it could be quite interesting, but either way, I'm yet to decide what to do regarding that. But now it's your turn, guys. How many cars do you have and how many of them are maxed out? Make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section, drop your massive like and subscribe in order to not to miss absolutely anything about Asphalt Legends Unite. I will see you really soon as usual with much more Asphalt content. Goodbye, guys.